So we just finished up looking at measures of center, which included the mean, the median, and the mode. And actually, we did throw in range there. But today we're going to be looking at measures of variability. And that looks at the spread. So it's how spread out the data is. Now there's three measures of variability. I did mention we learned the range with the measure of center, but it actually is a measure of variability, how much the data varies. So remember that a range is the difference between the minimum and the maximum data point. And remember what difference means? It means to subtract. Then another one of the three measures of variability is called the IQR. And it's actually called interquartile range. And this is something we're going to be working on. So as you notice, it's a range, but it's a specific range. So this is our big today one. And one we're doing next week is called the MAD, or the mean absolute deviation. Okay, so I want to give you a little bit of background about the IQR. Okay, the first thing that we must know is that what a quartile is. It's a fourth or part of four. So you can look at it as a fourth, or a fourth. That all means that it is one of four. Now, when we're doing the IQR, we need to find two quartiles. The first one that we need to find is called the first quartile. The first quartile is also known as the lower quartile. And I will also refer to it as Q1. Now, what is the first quartile? The first quartile is the median, and we know how to find median, we found it already, of the lower half of your data set. The second quartile that we will be finding is not the second quartile, it's called the third quartile, coincidentally. The third quartile is actually the upper quartile, and it will also be known as Q3. What is this? It is actually the median of the upper half of the data set. Now, if we know the first quartile and we know the third quartile, we will be able to find the range. What is the range that we're looking for? The range between quartile 1 and quartile 3. So if I have these two, then I can find my range, which is my interquartile range. Now we're going to go through this and we're going to practice this. So let's take a look at the next page. So that was all the background information, which is extensive. But here, there are certain steps that make this very, very easy to figure out. So the first one, so in this MOV is measures of variability. The first step for the interquartile range is to list your numbers, you guessed it, from least to greatest. Then you're going to find the median of all data. What happens when we do this, which is kind of important, when we do this, this number splits the data in half. So then we end up with the lower half and the upper half. And remember, median means middle. So next, what we do is we find quartile 1 median. Then we find quartile 3 median. And the final step is to subtract quartile 3 and quartile 1, and it gives us the IQR. So let's go ahead and practice this. Here's my example. I have this data set here, and I need to list it in order from least to greatest. So my least amount is 28, 36, 44, 59, 66, 71, and 108. So that was step 1. Now I need to find the data of all these points. Well, I have to make sure that I find out if I have an odd or even number of data points, because depending on that is how I'm going to solve for the median. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's always good to check. So there's 7, so it's odd. So all I have to do is find the center. How do I find the center? I go like this, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and there's my direct center. So my median is here. Well, now I have the lower quartile and I have the upper quartile. Now I can find my median again. So that is step 2. Now we go to step 3. What is the median of quartile 1? Well, the number in the center is 36. That's my median here. And my number in my center of quartile 3 is 71. So now I just have to subtract 71 minus 36. So my IQR is 35. Let's go ahead and do it with this data set. Now everything is in order from least to greatest here. And actually I have a comma there, but that's the end of the data set. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 data points. So I need to find the middle. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the one left over is 3. So that is the middle of my data. That is the median. This here is the lower quartile. And this here is the upper quartile. So now I need to find the median of quartile 1. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data points in this one. So 8 would be right here in between here. And what would that be?
Come to my room right now.
So what would that be? Well, what's between 2 and 2? 2. Now, I could find the mean by adding and then dividing by 2, and I still get 2. So there's 2, that is going to be my median. That is my mean, which ends up being my median anyway. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here, because here's 4 and here's 4. So, what is between 3 and 4? Well, I could find my add and then divide by the number of data points, and I end up with 3.5. Or I could write it as a decimal. Now I subtract quartile 3 and quartile 1. So I'm going to write 3 and 5/10 minus 2. Remember, there's a decimal point after every whole number, and I end up with 1 and 5/10. So that is my IQR.